I just filmed and I'm about to edit one of the most powerful videos that I've ever made, and you're about to watch it. This clip is part of that video. It was a couple months ago, one of my community members suggested a topic via Instagram. By the way, make sure you're following me there. That's where all the suggestions come through. That's where all the communication happens, is Instagram. He submitted this question to me of a topic he wanted to cover. How do I brainwash myself into maximum success? And the video that you're about to watch is a deep dive on exactly that. How to brainwash yourself from a healthy Christian spiritual perspective, from a brain science aligned perspective, how to brainwash yourself into maximum productivity and creativity. I remember when I was 16 years old, that was the first time I ever published work on this topic. I have nerded out about this topic for nearly decades. I'm 32 now, so I guess it's about half my life ago was when I first published this topic. I've been obsessed with it ever since. I'm a 4.0 student. I've never made a B in my life. I've worked with industry billionaires across multiple types of business. I've started multiple businesses myself. I've done a lot of things that require a lot of productivity. I'm not telling you that to brag. I'm telling you that to tell you I'm not just some dude who lucked out, made it big, and is now blowing smoke up everybody's butts on YouTube. By the way, that's what a lot of people do. I have studied this stuff and have known about this stuff for a long, long time. Does that mean I've cracked every single code? No. But I have been able to crack the infamous 10K month, the 5-figure month that everybody wants. I have been able to lift weights that most men cannot lift. I've been able to have great relationships. I've been able to accumulate great contacts. Those billionaires that I've worked with, their names first and last are in my phone. I've been able to help build massive businesses, right? I've been able to actually implement this stuff. But I remember a time when all I would ever do was make little bits of progress, get really hyped up, go for it, and then I would self-sabotage. I would be coasting along thinking everything was going to be great. I'd be crushing it, and then for some unknown reason, I would screw something up or something bad would happen that I probably could have handled, but it would throw me off track, throw me off course. And it kind of scared me because I would look back and I would say, oh, this year I thought everything was going to change. Or last year I thought everything was going to change. Or this month I thought everything was going to change. Or, next week everything's going to change. And maybe it changed for a little while, but it never lasted. The change never lasted. And then I started to study what was common about my high performing months and what was common about my low performing months. And using a mix of the coaching principles that I have with my one-on-ones, using a mix of the principles from the courses that I have, using a mix of brain science, biblical principles, all of which are going to be laid out for you plain as day in this video, I reverse engineered the most productive, successful month of my life and codified it into 13 steps. Now, I want you to understand, this is not a video that you can just listen to while you're driving and absorb things. If you want to do that, I guess you can, but it's not going to change your life unless you get serious, you open it up on your laptop, you open up a notepad or you get your journal out and you take notes and actually implement it. Some of it's going to be stuff you've heard before. Some of it's going to be stuff you've never heard before. All of it's going to be stuff that is useless to know unless you do it. Now, this is not a video on how to live your life or basic things every person should do. So I didn't say things like go to church and read your Bible, okay? You guys watching this, I know you're not idiots. I know you know to do that. This is about things you can tweak about what's already happening for a month of time to truly change the way you think, believe, and act. So lock in. Hope you guys enjoy.
Guys, as I get into this, I won't lie, I get a little sad because this video has come as a culmination of years, decades of thought, research. I nerded out on this stuff from the time I was 15 years old. I'm 32 now, okay? This comes from a scientific, nerdy level of understanding and application, of working with the world's largest retailer, of working with the nation's fastest growing franchise, of building my own businesses, right? This is not coming from some off the dome, oh, this worked for me, so it'll work for everybody else kind of stuff that you see on YouTube, okay? This is coming from a 4.0 GPA, locked in nerd, okay? And the reason I'm sad is because even though all of you just heard me say that, most of you will not do what I'm about to explain. And it makes me sad because a lot of us use YouTube and social media not to actually implement new things that we're learning, but we use it to feel better, to feel like we're making some kind of progress. Because this video is not about what you need to know. Some of it, there's going to be a few key things that you'll have to pay attention to. This is not something you listen to while driving. This is something you open up on your actual computer, you open it up, you take notes, and you apply them, okay? There's going to be some things that when you go through it, you're going to be like, yeah, this is actually new, this makes sense, this is connecting some dots for me. But what I won't say is that this stuff is complicated. It's very straightforward. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to implement all of this play by play, there would be a little bit of setup you had to do, but daily, it's like a 45 minutes output per day. You could reduce it to 45 minutes per day. You could make it longer if you wanted to. You could probably make it a little shorter too, but definitely no more than 45 minutes per day if you wanted to. And some of you guys will be like, yeah, I know this could brainwash me into maximum productivity, but I don't have time for 45 minutes a day. Okay, cool. Well, what were you thinking was going to happen? Like, what were you thinking would be the case? If you want like a mediocre life or an above average life, then that's fine. That's okay. But why are you watching this then? Like, did you not think that you're going to have to change some things to see some changes? It makes me sad because it's just kind of a mental stimulus for a lot of you. Okay, again, this is not going to be complicated. You are going to learn some new things, but they're not going to be these really weird, complicated things, okay? If you're gonna watch this, do it. Do it, man. Don't waste your time. I'm gonna hold you guys to this. Let's get into it. How I brainwashed myself into maximum productivity, okay? Again, one of you guys asked about this. How do I brainwash myself? And so I looked back in my life to my most productive, highest output month, and I codified the unique things that I was doing in that month so that we can copy, paste, and replicate that for you guys as well, okay? We're gonna go through 13 steps to brainwash yourself into maximum productivity. These steps are gonna start out with more of a meta-structural approach to talk about what you need to be doing in order to set yourself up for success. And then it'll kind of move into more of a daily action item thing, okay? So first up, we have 90-day certainty. Now, what that means is we're not going to do a 90-day brainwash. This brainwash is actually going to take 1 month. But you need 90-day certainty. Here's why. When we enter into this process, I need your mind to be focused. I don't want a lot of decisions bouncing around in your brain and a lot of loose ends that need to be tied up. So 90-day certainty, here's what that means. For the next 90 days, 30 of which will be the active brainwash, but for the next 90 days, you need to have basic stuff locked down. I need you to know what your job is going to be. I need you to know what your fitness plan is going to be. I need you to know what your nutrition plan is going to be. I need you to know where you're going to be sleeping at night. There doesn't need to be housing uncertainty here. I need you to know what sort of trips you're going on, what sort of travel plans you have. And any other sort of major routine disrupting decisions need to be made. And maybe they're not set in stone, but you have a plan A and a plan B. Like, okay, if I don't end up doing this, it'll be this. Very straightforward, very focused. You know what you're going to be doing in the next 90 days. If you still got, I still got to work on my workout routine. I want to tweak my diet a little bit. I'm going to try this new medication. Don't do that. 90 days is not that long. You need to figure out something that will work for you for 90 days and stick to that, or else this brainwash will not be effective. Okay? So establish that 90-day certainty. Before you start doing this, I want you to establish that 90-day certainty. Spend 30 minutes to an hour max answering these questions. optimizing, doing your research, making a plan, and saying, hey, for the next 90 days, this is what life will look like. If you have a vacation, throw that in there. If you have some travel, throw that in there. If somebody's coming to visit, throw that in there. There'll be these little disruptions that we all have, that's fine. But just lock in how that's gonna look for the next 90 days. Number 2 is you need to use systematic anchors. Okay, let's break that down. First of all, an anchor. An anchor is something that you attach yourself to so that you can only move a little bit, right? That's the purpose of an anchor, is to keep you in the same general area pretty tightly, right? And this anchor is attached to you through a chain, okay? Guys don't like to have chains or anchors because it inhibits freedom, but that is a good thing in this case. We don't want you to be too free during this process, okay? We want you to be anchored down to a set of routines, structures, and programs so that the brainwash is effective. If you actually want to do this, you have to understand that brainwashing isn't just this, oh, I'm going to do it a little bit here, a little bit there, I'm going to work it in when I can and be flexible. No. You have to be anchored in, okay? So you have to use systematic anchors. Systematic means there is a system outside of you that is keeping that anchor locked in. Okay, so for me, I have my Gravitas Inner Circle men's group, high-level group of Christian men dedicated to growth in all walks of life. We have 3 weekly group calls that they can attend where they can be locked in on accountability, weekly commitments, quarterly goals, and we help sharpen each other through that process. There's accountability to that process. We also have regular challenges we participate in to help each other grow, and we use social accountability with other high-level men as a systematic anchor. Now, I'm not saying you have to do that, but there will be an opportunity at the end of this video for you to engage with that very same group to anchor yourself in. But if you don't have any sort of support structure at all and you're trying to do this all by your lonesome, I'll just be real, you're probably going to fail. Because the truth is, even guys who do have systematic anchors tend to fail. Like I said, even though this is not complicated, most of us, we don't actually want to change. We just want to talk about it. We just want to feel about it, right? But if you're going to change, you definitely need anchors, things that will keep you focused that are outside of yourself. Number 3, you must fall in love with the process. And guys, the process, very simply put, does not look like a straight line. It looks like you go up some days and you go down some other days. And then you go up some days, you go down some other days. Okay, and some days you might just go straight. Some days it might look like this. Some days it may look like you're going up, but it's an uphill battle and it sucks. And a lot of us are just like, oh, I want to have abundance and be brainwashed and optimize my whole life. And I do too, that's great. And we're all growing in that together, but you're not going to get the outcome unless you fall in love with the process. Now, that's going to look different for everybody. Some of us are in school. Some of us are in jobs that we love. Some of us are in jobs that we hate. Some of us have an injury we're trying to recover from. Some of us are trying to write a book. The process is going to look different. But when I said that, you should all identify something, oh, he's talking about this. There should be something in your life, there is for all of us, where we hate it. Like, oh, I have to wake up and do this. Oh, I have to do that another day. Oh, like I really want muscles, but I have to go to the gym consistently to get them. Fall in love with the gym. Fall in love with the process. If you don't love the process, you will not brainwash yourself to success, period. So I need you to identify whatever that process is for you and figure out how you need to fall in love with it. So stay tuned. We're going to talk about that more later when it comes to rewiring your frequency, gratitude, and meditation. Loving the process. Number 4 is self-talk psyop. You guys cannot address maximum productivity and success without fixing your self-talk. There is an internal dialogue and sometimes a monologue that takes place in your brain on a regular basis where you are telling yourself things about yourself. You are telling yourself things about your future. And for most of you, because you're men listening to this, for most of us, that is based in fear and negativity and shame-based motivation, okay? Now, if you want to keep doing what you're doing, then don't worry about the self-talk psyop. But if you want things to change, you're going to need to change your self-talk because your behaviors come from your beliefs, about yourself. You do not do what you are, and you are not what you do, but you do what you think you are. And who you think you are comes primarily from your self-talk. It can be complicated if you make it, or it can be very simple. What I do, and what I encourage my men's group to do, and what I equip them to do, is use identity affirmations. Now, identity affirmations are not some woo-woo new age thing. To affirm means to confirm or validate or reinforce something that is already true, okay? So we're not blowing smoke up each other's butts here. We're not saying things that don't exist yet as if they do. We're not doing anything weird like that. We're using biblically based promises, statements about who we are in Christ, who we are as adopted, beloved sons of God, the promises that God makes to us, things that we can spiritually hang our hat on with full integrity. And we're using identity statements based off of these scriptures to affirm these affirmations, to affirm who we are, to fix our negative self-talk. And guys, I actually have on the Gravitas platform customized identity affirmations that are actually synced to binaural beats inducing theta brain waves so that you can turn these on, play them in headphones ideally, and literally rewire your self-talk over the course of a month. We've already done this in my group. Everybody loved it, saw good results from it. And you can definitely make these on your own. You can definitely go to the scripture, look for identity passages, and make your own affirmations to repeat, write down, or listen to. But if you want kind of a push button way to get that going, stay tuned and I'll talk about how you can join us for this challenge at the end of the video. But this is an unskippable part. If you have negative self-talk that's holding you back, you're not going to be able to brainwash yourself. And most of you will not know how bad your self-talk is until you try to fix it. That was some feedback I got when we did this challenge with the group earlier this year, is some guys were saying, I didn't realize how bad my self-talk was until we started using the affirmations. Number 5, you have to have a rigid wake-up time, okay? I'm not saying it has to be 5:30 a.m. or even 6 or 7 or 8 or 9 or 10. It can be whenever you want it to be. It's not about waking up early and being some David Goggins boss or some Jocko Willing boss. But the thing that you need is rigidity. You need structure. This ties a lot to the systematic anchors, okay? One of those anchors needs to be that you are waking up at the same time every single day so that you can eventually start falling asleep at the same time every single night, so that you can eventually start craving food at the same times throughout the day, so that you can start to measure your productivity peaks and troughs throughout the day, right? All of this is anchored in by a rigid wake-up time. Again, it doesn't have to be 5:30 a.m. It doesn't have to be 6 a.m. It can be whenever. Just pick a time that you can consistently wake up at. Again, it's not complicated. A lot of you won't do it, but it's very important. Number 6, surf theta brainwaves. We talked about this with the identity affirmations. And number 4, self-talk psyop. I have these identity affirmations synced over music that is inducing a theta brainwave, which is 6 to 8 hertz, right? So the theta brainwave is the brainwaves that are taking place in your brain when you are in the early waking hours of the morning. Whenever you wake up, I want you to surf the brainwaves of theta frequency. The theta brainwaves are for meditation and intuition. So if you've been watching my videos, or if you've done one-on-one or group stuff, then you understand that the conscious mind and the heart are dealing with thought and emotion, but they don't deal with intuition. They don't deal with tapping into the vast unconscious mind. The theta brainwaves of early morning hours, meditation, intuition, these brainwaves are often where you're going to get the genius, the insight, the spark, these ideas that seem to come from you from nowhere. Those brainwaves have to be tapped into. So when I say surf the theta brainwaves, here's what I mean. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing you need to do is write. And it doesn't have to be a lot. You can have a small journal. Like I have a journal right here. It's not that big. You can have a small journal where you write some notes. For me, what I do, you guys will see this, is a lot of times I will make a story on Instagram first thing. Now, I don't do any scrolling. I don't check messages. I don't do anything like that. I just go into my notes, type out some thoughts, and then I post it onto Instagram first thing. So the first thing you need to do when you wake up, before you have caffeine to disrupt your flow state, before you have anything, you can have some water if you want. But before anything else happens, before you check your phone, brush your teeth, anything, you open up a journal and a notes app, something, and you do some writing. You do like a page worth of writing, first thing. And I don't care what it is, you just need to try to catch those waves. And just like regular surfing, sometimes you're gonna catch a wave and it's gonna be great. Sometimes you're gonna miss a bunch of waves in a row. Sometimes it's gonna crash and eat you up. That's part of this process too. It's not easy, but it is simple. What this is gonna do is open up your capacity to be creative and to have new insights that you haven't had before. If you guys wanna do this, guys, this is the way. Number 7, calibrate the frequency of gratitude. I know that sounds very new age woo-woo. It's not. It's actually spiritual, Christian, and scientific. We're gonna explain how right now. I want you guys to look with me at Philippians 4, 6 through 9. Now, this is all going to make sense. Why do we need to calibrate to a gratitude frequency? Let's talk about it. This is Paul. He's saying, be anxious for nothing, okay? But in everything, by prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God. Okay, that's the command. That's the command right there. Here's the promise that comes with the command. If you do what's in verse 6, then what is in verse 7 will happen for you and to you. If you do what is in verse 6, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding. Understanding takes place in the mind. So this peace of God is surpassing what logically makes sense, what's happening in the brain. It surpasses that. It will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. Okay? So number 1, we see don't be anxious. Do talk to God about everything with thanksgiving. There's more to it there, but those are the basics. And a lot of people appreciate that, but then they disconnect it from verses 8 and 9. But these are all connected. He tells us, finally, brethren, whatever things are true, noble, just, pure, lovely, good report, virtuous, anything praiseworthy, meditate on these things. So there's an element of thanksgiving and gratitude, and then there's an element of basically anything that's good in your life that you've heard about that exists, you need to meditate on it. He's saying, guys, focus, meditate, sit in what is good, right? This is a spiritual, Christian, good, healthy thing. We need to get our frequency into this frequency. Now, when I say that, a lot of y'all are like, oh, that sounds new age. And some people use it that way. That's not how I'm using it. I'm saying your demeanor, your attitude, your spirit, does that sound better? Needs to be in the gratitude game, okay? Notice how these tie together, right? What should we be thankful for, right? Oh, Paul wants us to be thankful in everything. What should we be thankful for? Well, maybe all the stuff down here. Maybe all the stuff in your life that's noble, just, pure, lovely, true, etc., right? It ties in so beautifully. And then look what he says at the end. He says, if you do the things that I told you to do, the God of peace will be with you. And there's more to this, but look at what look at the similarities here. We got the peace of God up here. We got the God of peace down here. There's some emphasis being placed here at the very least, right? He's saying, guys, you want the God of peace? How about the peace of God? How about both? Here's what you need to do. You need to meditate on good things and be thankful for them, and don't be anxious, okay? Now, scientifically, whenever we are experiencing different emotions, like in our bodies, whenever we're experiencing different emotions, our bodies actually do produce a measurable vibrational field, okay? It's not woo-woo, it's scientific. When you're living in certain states of mind and heart, your body does produce certain frequencies, okay? So I want you to imagine tuning your frequency to the type of things that you want to experience more of. That's what we're doing here. And what do we want more of? We want the peace of God, and we want the God of peace. Also, we want more of the good things that we're thankful for, right? Easy. This is not complicated, okay? There's also, from a brain science perspective, there's a system in the brain called the reticular activation system, the RAS. And that's the thing that tells you what to see more of and what to ignore, right? Which is why when your buddy gets, the new Tesla or the new truck, that type of Tesla or that type of truck is suddenly way more in your vision when you're driving. You're like, man, I just got this truck, my buddy just got this or whatever. Now I see it everywhere. I see that color, I see that model everywhere I drive. They were always there, guys. They were always there. You have just started attuning yourself to that frequency. Another way to think of it is your frequency is what you frequently see, okay? Here's another brain science thing that is right in line with this. The part of your brain that experiences anxiety and the part of your brain that experiences gratitude are the same part. In the words of an old Western movie, there's not enough room in this town for the both of us, right? What do I mean? I mean you can't feel gratitude and anxiety simultaneously. It's not possible. You can't feel gratitude and feel anxious at the same time, which is the beauty of how God designed our brain and the beauty of how Paul is giving us this command in this passage. Don't be anxious, he says, but in everything with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known to God, and you'll have the peace of God and the God of peace. So when we talk about frequency, this is not my chart. I'm going to make my own later because I don't really like this one. But look at this, guys. Look at this. Most men, David Goggins, Jocko, Andy Elliott, Bedros Keuilian, Andy Frizzaglia, any tatted up, cussing, balding, flat bill hat dude out there that's screaming at you about masculinity, his frequencies, his emotions, his mental states, the spirit, whatever you want to say, is all down here primarily, right? It's in these emotional states, lower frequency. Now, where do you think gratitude fits into all this? Where do you think gratitude fits in? It's definitely more up here, right? Gratitude is the cheat code to getting you into these states. Down here is where Goggins lives. Like the best he gets to is courage. But most guys, most men's work, most Just Man Up, Andrew Tate, he's another one, right? They are tapping into this right here. Fear, desire, anger, and pride. That's where most men live at when they're doing well, when they're being effective. And then who does Andrew Tate, Andy Elliott, all these guys, who do they make fun of? Who do they scorn? Everybody that's down here. This is just how this works. So the Goggins mindset, the orphan mindset that we've talked about before, primarily hates here and shoots to go here. What we're doing with gratitude practice, with changing our frequency, with meditating on good things, is we're transcending to a place that these guys don't even understand. And it's a place of gospel-centered joy and freedom. So how do we do that? How do we change our RAS? How do we change our brain science? How do we change our frequency to get where we need to be? Well, the self-talk psyop is going to help a lot with that. It's going to make that process a lot easier. The other big thing we can do to calibrate our gratitude frequency is right after you surf those theta brainwaves, right? So these are starting to get in order now, right? So you're going to wake up, rigid time. You're going to surf the theta brainwaves to get that flow state going. And then you're going to calibrate to a gratitude frequency by listing, probably in that same notebook that you write in for the theta brainwaves, you're going to list at least 3 things that you are grateful for. Okay, and you're not just going to list them. And by the way, I typically do 4 just because I like to overachieve, but you're going to do at least 3. And guys, these don't have to be anything super deep or ethereal. They can also be repeats. You can do the same thing on one day that you did another day. So, these are literally some of mine. One thing that I am thankful for a lot is organic coffee. I also have a lot of fresh fruit here on the island, so I might be thankful for that. And then here's where we're going to get really strategic. Whatever you are trying to accomplish, there's probably a promise of God that ties to that directly or indirectly. One thing that I really like to sit in and be grateful for is God's promise to provide for my needs. And you can find that in a lot of different passages in the scripture. He will provide for your needs as his child. My Father owns the cattle on 1,000 hills, and he's going to take care of me. I don't need to worry, all these things, right? So one of my things that I'm grateful for is his abundant provision. And then something else could be an opportunity that I have coming up, like a great meeting coming up. And this one is also where you can remember how we're supposed to fall in love with the process. Find something that you currently don't like, right? That you need to fall in love with more about the process. Find an element of that you can be grateful for, right? So maybe this meeting is not something that I'm excited about. Maybe it's with someone that's hard for me to talk to, or maybe it's not a meeting. Maybe it's some outbound outreach I need to do for my business. Find a way to see what is noble, true, lovely, praiseworthy, good about this thing, and then sit in gratitude for that. Okay? Now, again, it's not just writing down these things. You want to write them down, express gratitude to God for these things, and then meditate on them. So when we calibrate the gratitude frequency, part one of that is identifying the frequency that we want to calibrate to. But then you actually have to change the dial. And what that looks like is not just writing these things down, but actually sitting in the emotion of gratitude for that thing. So if I want to calibrate my mindset to a gratitude frequency, a frequency that's going to help my RAS see more of the same thing, a frequency that's going to help me experience joy more when I encounter those things and attract more of those things to me, I need to get in the same emotional frequency of those things. So abundant provision, fresh fruit, organic coffee. When I am going through my list, I write it down, then I go through it. And for about 2 minutes, I sit, I thank God for it, and I just appreciate it. I enjoy it. I feel how good it is. I literally produce and work up these feelings of like, man, this coffee is so good. I'll sip it, I'll swirl it around in my mouth, and I'll just enjoy it. I'll feel it warm my body as I swallow it. Think, this is amazing. This is so nice. God, I'm so thankful for this. And I'll just enjoy that. And I go through the list all the way down to the meeting and the work. And I fall in love with the process. And I say, man, even though I'm not looking forward to this meeting, I'm so thankful that I have an opportunity to make a positive impact and share the love of Christ with this person. God, thank you so much. Because you know what? In another world, I might not have this opportunity, but you have given this to me. And so I'm going to enjoy it, and I am going to love it. I'm going to be thankful that I have this at bat to change someone's life for the better, even if it's just in a small way. See what we're doing? We're calibrating ourselves to this mindset, spirit, attitude, whatever. I don't care. I'm calling it frequency. Call it whatever you want. Again, none of these steps are skippable, guys. And this one is super not skippable. Number 8, eat the frog. So this is also kind of in order. So we're going to wake up at the same time every day. We're going to surf theta brainwaves. We're going to calibrate to a gratitude frequency. And then we're going to eat the frog. So if you're not familiar with that term, who all likes eating frogs? I mean, not me. I like some frog legs. I'm from the South. So even if we deep fry them, I'm a fan. I'm there for it. But as far as just picking one up off the ground and eating it, I'm not the guy for that. Eat the frog means I'm going to do the most unwanted, disgusting thing first. A lot of your productivity and creativity is stifled because the frog is sitting on your desk all freaking day and you won't eat it. And you're looking at him and he's looking at you and you're grossed out and you're not focused well because you're thinking, I got to eat that frog at some point. Just eat it. The thing that is going to free you up the most is the thing that you least want to do. Said another way, everything you want is behind the work that you're avoiding, right? Eat the frog first. If you can eat the frog first when your motivation, your willpower, your energy is at its highest in the morning, then the rest of the day can be a downhill. It's very, very straightforward, guys. But again, a lot of you won't do this. Eat the frog. And you need to identify that the day before. You don't need to wake up and ask yourself, oh, what am I going to do today at work? Oh, what am I going to work on today for school? Oh, what am I going to do today, etc. You need to know the night before, when I start productivity, this is the frog I'm going to eat. And then you wake up and there's no decisions to be made. You just go straight from your flow state, your wake up, your surfing, your calibration, boom, straight to the frog. And ideally, you've already set in gratitude for something about that frog too. So it'll be even easier to do. Okay, that's eat the frog. Number 9, you're going to tie caffeine to productivity. Any sort of substance you use, mainly caffeine, but any sort of medications, any sort of supplements, anything like that, you need to tie it to productivity. It doesn't need to be just this thing that you sip on or drink to feel good. If you're in that state of mind, you're probably not even going to be able to do this. But if you do use caffeine, I need you to tie it to productivity, right? So anytime you drink a cup of coffee, it needs to be in the context of production. Anytime you sip on your white monster, it needs to be in the context of exertion and production, right? So that way you can get yourself into a state of productivity when you take that first sip. There's an association, there's a tie there, right? And it's a beautiful thing because these products, these caffeine products, they do increase the output that you're capable of. They don't really increase your productivity. They don't really increase your intelligence, even though you may feel like those things are increased. What they do actually increase is your focus and your energy and productivity in that moment, as long as you always are tying the caffeine to production. That's very key. Number 10, no short form. And when I say no, I mean no. Guys, I know I'm the biggest hypocrite in the world because I post on Instagram. But when I go through this process, I only get on Instagram to post. I don't open up the Reels tab. I don't scroll. This includes TikToks. This includes YouTube Shorts. This includes anything that's, under that 3-minute mark. Usually like between 7 and 30 seconds where you're just scrolling and you get sucked into this quick hit dopaminergic state. If you want to brainwash yourself, this short form scroll is literally sucking the life out of you. It's literally taking you away from your ability for a positive brainwash. This is going to be how you negatively brainwash yourself. But if you want to positively brainwash yourself for 30 days, I need you to cut out short form. If you want to keep watching YouTube, that's fine. If you want to watch movies and shows, that's fine. But stop scrolling shorts. If you can't do that, I can't help you. Sorry, you just don't want it bad enough. Done. Number 11, boring meals. What do we mean by boring? There's 2 elements to that. Number 1 is you need to have a predictable, healthy, sustainable meal structure for this 30 days. Okay? It doesn't need to be, what am I going to eat for dinner tonight? What should I have for lunch today? Those don't need to be questions you're asking yourself. There needs to be a plan, there needs to be a system, there needs to be a process. This would include meal prep. This would include, hey, maybe if you don't have time for meal prep, if you're not doing things in the kitchen, that's fine. Maybe you just know, hey, every single day for lunch, I'm eating kava, right? There's no questions about it. And when we go in there, you're not having to sit there and think about, what am I getting? There's a basic chicken bowl that you get, for example. That's what I mean by boring. We're reducing the threshold of decision and we're making sure it's nutritious and consistently healthy every single time. That's going to be vital for making sure your brain is in the best possible state. And the other thing very closely tied to that is when you're eating, keep your phone out of your hand. Just sit there and enjoy your meal. Give your mind a break while you're eating. Allow yourself to enjoy the meal, stare at the wall, stare out the window, eat outside if you can, and enjoy the meal. Let it be boring. Don't have the need for stimulation during the meal. And again, we just said no short form. Don't even have your phone in your hand during the meal. Make it boring. All right, 2 more, guys. We have number 12, max effort exercise. You need to be doing this at least 2 times a week. You need to be exerting maximum effort. Okay? What I mean by that is you are straining at something so hard that no other thoughts in your mind can exist except for moving the bar. You've forgotten about what your music is that you're listening to. You've forgotten about what you're having to eat later that day. You've forgotten about all your problems because you're so focused on giving your max effort to that thing. That's going to have a meditative state. That's going to induce muscle growth. That's going to be good for your obsession as a man, your ability to lock in and focus. You must be giving your max effort in an exercise. Obviously, we have a dude lifting weights here, but it doesn't have to be that for you. It can be something that's as simple as swimming as hard as you can, running as hard as you can, going to the mat in jiu-jitsu as hard as you can. It doesn't have to be weightlifting, but it does have to be your maximum effort. If you're not doing that, don't expect to grow as a man. This is something that God designed us to be. He designed us to test ourselves and push ourselves to the limit on a regular basis in a controlled setting. And that's exactly what this is. And finally, guys, we have celebrate victory daily. Okay? You need to be giving yourself an attaboy and a pat on the back. Now, again, these guys over here, the Goggins, Andy Elliott, all these just man up type of guys, they're not going to tell you to do this. They want you to stay in this lower area of vibrational state. But what I'm going to tell you, as someone who wants to live in a prince mindset, not the orphan mindset, is that you need to be at the end of each day, and this ties to gratitude as well, you're looking back through the day and you're picking out a win. and you're saying, hey, you know what? This was a win, and I'm going to celebrate that win. It can be something that you did, or it can be something that you received, something that happened to you. It doesn't have to be, oh, I had a great workout, or oh, I made a ton of money. It can be, oh, I got to talk to a friend today that I haven't got to talk to in a while. It could literally be that, right? Every single day, you're celebrating a victory intentionally. In the context of my group or my client work, a lot of times I'll have them send me daily wins. And that's exactly what I'm going to do when we open up this challenge. So for the month of August, so coming up very, very soon here in a couple days, I am going through this entire protocol with my Gravitas Inner Circle men's group and the Gravitas Brotherhood. Okay, those are both tiers of involvement that you can have in my group men's work. And both of those tiers are going to have access to this challenge. Now, what do I mean? Anybody can do this stuff. You don't need to join a program to do this stuff. But again, most people do need to have some sort of a structure and accountability to make sure that they continually do these things over a period of 7 days, much less a month, right? The challenge, the Brainwashed challenge, is going to be that systematic anchor for my guys and for me so that we stick to this program and we have accountability for this program. There's going to be weekly calls, daily check-ins in the dedicated private app. I have a whole app set aside just for this. And there will be guidance from me to help make sure that you are executing on all this the right way. And again, the Inner Circle guys, they get everything I ever do. They're a high-level group of guys dedicated to growth in all areas of life. The Brotherhood tier, they get a lot of the stuff I do, and they do get this included. If you want to be a part of this, you don't necessarily have to join a group. I'm actually going to open up the challenge to any of you that are serious about this that want to join, and I'm going to give it to you at a very reasonable price. If you want to join this challenge, be a part of the weekly group calls, the accountability, the check-ins, the group momentum we're going to have together. If you want to join this challenge, your price is going to be $75. One time, flat fee, $75. You can enter the month with us and brainwash yourself into maximum productivity. And if you're seeing this on the first of the month or second of the month, that's fine. You can jump in a little bit late, but if it's the third or more, you're going to have to wait for the next challenge. The other option, if you want to join, is to join the Brotherhood. The Brotherhood is $47 a month. You can cancel at any time, okay? I'm giving you that promotional price right now. It's usually $80 a month, but for this video, up until August 3rd, it's going to be $47 a month. I just changed the price. So if you want to join the Brotherhood tier and jump into this group, and then you could cancel later if you wanted, the Brotherhood tier also includes a lot of content and courses, as well as other weekly group calls you could join in on. So that's another option for you. But you don't have to join anything. I'm just saying it's going to be lit. We're going to all be doing it together. And if you want to make sure it gets done, that's probably your best way to do it, is to either just join the challenge one time and pay that $75, or hop into the Brotherhood at $47 a month, and you can cancel that anytime you want to. Regardless of if you join the program or not, guys, I hope this was super helpful to you. Make sure you hit that like and subscribe for me to help the channel grow. We've surpassed 300. Very thankful for that. And I truly hope that you take this stuff to heart and you don't just have your ears tickled. You don't just feel good about it. You actually do it. Click the link below to join, and I'll see you guys soon.